Running for governor of Ohio takes plenty of stamina. For Republican nominee John Kasich and his running mate Mary Taylor, it includes a 16-county bus tour over just several days.
Welcome back, John. Good to see you.
We're invited inside the Kasich campaign on a Friday, starting the day here in Heath at Bionetics, a facility that provides calibration and measurement services to the Air Force.
Lasers are used a tremendous amount in measuring distance.
Kasich is beginning to fine-tune his message for the fall. Although he calls himself an original member of the Tea Party, his campaign knows that undecided independents could hold the key to this election in November. Kasich is already speaking to them.
And I think you all know, you watched me for many years, I'm a pretty independent guy. I've never gone party line.
At the end of the tour in Heath, we head to the bus, Onboard, for our exclusive interviews with the Republican team who want to lead Ohio.
From Ohio's Channel 4 News, serving Ohio for more than a decade, this is Capitol Square from ONN.
Welcome to Capitol Square, everybody. I'm Jim Heath. We are on board the Kasich Express. Congressman, can we call it the Kasich Express?
Maybe if you put Taylor in there too.
No, right? The Kasich-Taylor Express.
Well, it's fun. We've been on the bus now for 3 days. We're not quite a rock band, but we got a sense of how they feel. It's from location to location. We do 16 stops, and it's been great. And we intend to do more of these.
What's it like campaigning statewide as you travel these roads and you speak to people in various locations? What's that like?
Well, you get your energy from the public when you realize that they believe they can count on you to do some good. You don't want to just think in the near present, but we were down in Wilmington where they've had very difficult economic times, lost 8,000 jobs when DHL moved out, and just to be down there and to have them express their frustration and what they think can be done and their hope, and then to walk through the building into a food pantry where people who've lost their jobs or families are getting some help. It's pretty emotional, really. And I called everybody on the bus at that point and said, this is why we're running, to fix these kind of things. This is what it's really about. So getting out and amongst them is always great. And we do a lot of meetings with business leaders and vocational schools and, meet and greets and everything you can imagine. It's fun.
Some Republicans have said to me the last few months, because of your experience in the House, why not the Senate? What was the decision making in not running statewide for the U.S. Senate?
Well, Jack Bauer couldn't get me back to the legislature again. No, this was the job, because to be an executive and to be able to take my political experience, my business experience, put them together, and to know how people make decisions about how to create jobs is what it's really all about. And we know we got tremendous barriers in this state. If you've never been in business and if you've never been able to move the system politically, then you have a very difficult time fixing the place. But if you know how to fix it politically and you understand what needs to be done with business, you can remove the barriers and create the jobs.
Let me ask you a few tough political questions, just looking ahead to potential debates this fall and what your opponent, the governor, is likely to say or ask. Let's start with the ad that he's already got on air. Two things in that. First, NAFTA and your vote on NAFTA. Looking back, was NAFTA, is it good for Ohio?
Oh, I think that opening up trade is very important, but I also think that when other countries cheat us, we've got to call them on it. And so but I think overall, to allow competition allows the consumer to get better products at better prices, and frankly, I don't think we're afraid to compete with anybody. But if you want to put a lot of rules, a lot of regulations, higher taxes, a bunch of government rules that beat people down, then you have a problem.
Are you surprised that he's hitting you on that?
Oh, listen, this is not about NAFTA. This is all negative campaign. I've been involved in a lot of political elections, and never in my lifetime did I come out of the box swinging and with innuendo, mudslinging at my opponent. But look, Jim, if you've lost 427,000 jobs since you've been in charge, and unemployment is one of the highest in the country, of course you're going to name call because you got nothing to run on. And if I were in that position, I'm not sure I'd be running. It's kind of pathetic for an incumbent sitting governor to spend his time slamming and criticizing his opponent without offering any of his own ideas.
Let's get to the thrust of that. You mentioned to the group of employees where you were just at in Heath, about sort of having an independent streak and an independent nature and getting in and out of public service. It leaves the question of Lehman Brothers for 6 or 7 years kind of being quiet, at least on your end, as far as the campaign material and what have you. Is that an admission that there might be a problem highlighting that private, or because you know that is the governor's leading, that has been the thrust of his whole re-election campaign?
His criticisms are not about Lehman Brothers or NAFTA or anything else. They're all designed to refocus people's attention over the job he's done. You know, if you do a terrible job in school, you run in and you criticize the teacher or criticize somebody else. That's what this is all about. In terms of my experience at Lehman Brothers, being a banker in a two-man office in Columbus, Ohio, and being involved in taking Google public, in terms of taking Designer Shoe Warehouse public and creating more jobs and more opportunities, hey, I'm really excited about what I did because it allowed me to spend time with CEOs, CFOs, boards of directors, and understand how businesses make decisions. The problem we have with political leaders today is they have no business experience, so they have no clue about how to create a job. So whether it was my experience there or my experience on boards, this is tremendous, and I wouldn't trade it for anything because it's made me a much more knowledgeable, much more effective leader. So, you know, but I'm not surprised. It's gonna, look, I predicted a year ago when I announced that it was going to be a whole campaign worth of smears, innuendo, and lies. And I don't get too worked up about it because I expected it. And I just don't think you win by dishing out fear. I'm not very concerned. We're going to stay on our message and stay very focused because this is going to be about who's in a better place to create jobs and bring some prosperity back to the state.
Is there something, and this is sort of an inside baseball question, I guess, but is there some belief that there might be vulnerability on Wall Street as a term, at least on the Republican side? It seems to be in the Democratic playbook, whether it's Governor Strickland or Attorney General Cordray or even candidates for the United States Senate, Wall Street and to some degree George W. Bush remain enemy number one. Is there some vulnerability?
Well, I think the playbook, at least we've seen in the last year, is smears and innuendos. You look at New Jersey, they're calling, Corzine's calling the guy running for governor fat. Down in Virginia, they're calling the guy a kook. Guess what? The Republican won in Virginia, the Republican won in New Jersey. They tried to make fun of Scott Brown in Massachusetts. The Democratic playbook is smear. And you know why it is? Because they failed with their economics. And so whatever it is that will sell, where they think they can divert attention, they'll do. You just can't get too worked up about it because you know it's coming. You just stick to your knitting and tell people what you want to do. And at the end of the day, that's what wins elections.
Last question on this topic, but I envision looking ahead to potential debates that once again the governor will call for you to release tax returns. Have you given that some thought and the pros and the cons, and why not just do it so you completely pull the rug out from under him? This constant attack of there might be something hidden. Yeah. I mean, you've heard it. There might be something there.
You know what? I don't pay a whole lot of attention to that. And the fact is, it's not about my tax returns. It's not about Lehman. It's not about NAFTA. It's not about anything. It's all about whatever negative things that we can launch to keep me from telling about what I'm proud about, right? Here's the question. How can you have been governor for 3.5 years and you go on the air and you have press conferences and the only thing that you do is bash your opponent? I mean, isn't he proud of anything that he's done? You know, and I understand it. If I lost 427,000 jobs, I'd be running for the hills as well. But look, a leader, you take this incoming, you don't get all worked up about it. It doesn't really move the needle with me. What moves the needle with me is being out there, being able to sell my agenda. And when I'm on the television and I'm with the folks, I'm not worried about what the result is going to be because we're going to win the election.